Hi everyone, good phrasing is key to a great solo, so let me show you my approaches to mastering it. Hi guys, Ollie here. So today I thought I'd talk you through one of the most important aspects of soloing, and that's phrasing. I'll talk you through some of my own approaches to phrasing, and I'll give you some exercises and examples to get this straight into your own playing. So let's get started. Okay, right off the bat, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I hear guitarists make, myself included. We overplay. So by overplaying, we're not giving any space in our solos, and this neglects two very important things. Firstly, we aren't giving ourselves any room to actually answer or build on any of the ideas we've just played. This can lead to quite disjointed or noodly sounding solos that can quite often sound a little bit cliched because they rely on licks or riffs, etc. Secondly, and I think probably most importantly, we don't give the listener a chance to actually take in what we've played. How can someone enjoy your playing if they can't take it in? So we need to leave space in our solos to allow for this. And I think for me, that's really what makes certain soloists stand out from others. So here's an example of what I mean for the start of a solo. For the first take, I'm going to overplay somewhat and perhaps leave less space. In the second take, I'm going to leave a bunch of space and hopefully it'll sound better. That wasn't awful, but this time I'm going to play less and hopefully you're going to enjoy that more. So hopefully to you that take was a lot more interesting, and perhaps the ideas I played there are more memorable. As a way to actually practice leaving space in your solos, focus on letting your phrases breathe. So to do this, we can actually take a physical breath between phrases, kind of like a horn player would do. We play the phrase, we breathe, and then we play another. We can also work on this by leaving very specific predetermined gaps in our phrasing. So perhaps we could play for a bar, leave space for a bar, etc. This is a really nice way to just start getting used to feeling the form, the beats, and the bars as they play underneath you. So I'll play for a bar, leave space for a bar. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or perhaps we leave space in bar 3 and use bar 4 to play back into the top of the chord sequence. Or we could leave gaps that are even smaller, perhaps 2 beats at a time, something like that. They don't have to be exact, but you can just get used to feeling it. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So as you can probably now hear, the spaces we're leaving gives us a chance to really start playing with a call and response type approach. So this leads us on really nicely to part 2, and that's motific development. The concept of motific development is a key technique used in composition. This involves taking a small musical idea or motif and expanding and developing on this to create a cohesive piece of music. It can be just as useful for improvisation too though. Think of a solo as improvised composition. If your soloing is sounding a little bit random and disjointed, this can really help give your improvisation structure and flow, helping you sound more intentional and connected. A motif should be easy enough to repeat and singable. So that means melodically not too tricky and rhythmically strong. So no noodling. So the idea of motific development is a simple one. We just take the motif and we use repetition to develop it as we progress through our solo. Call and response is a really great place to start with this. We play the motif, we give it space, and then we repeat it with a slight variation. And then I'll answer it. Tiny variation. Same thing again. I'll change the variation this time. So in the space that you leave, try to really consider what you want to play next. Try to listen ahead and almost hear what you want to play before you play it. This does take practice, but just start really simple. Simple is best when it comes to this. It's working your ear, but it's also working your musical memory, so be patient. To get comfortable with this, you could start by learning to extend a motif either by a couple of notes before the motif or after. So that will sound a little bit like this. There's my idea, I'm going to add to it. Simple, but just a slight adjustment. First idea again, this time I'm going to play into it. Okay, so it's a really nice way to start kind of elongating your phrases and getting them to grow and progress. Once we're comfortable with that, we can really start to develop this even further by taking that motif that we're building on. We can perhaps develop it for 4 bars, say, and then use that as a springboard to take us into a next section or into another idea entirely. So something like this. Develop that further. Another really cool idea to implement is jumping on the melody of the song you're actually playing on. So for an example of this, here's the chorus section into solo section of a song featuring the vocals of YOLERA. Go and check her out. The idea is she's going to sing the chorus and I'm going to take the melody lines that she's using as a springboard for my own motific development within my solo. So along with this melodic development, we should be super conscious of the rhythmic aspect of this too. So this brings me on to the next section, and that's rhythmic devices. So not only is motivic development important for melody, we can also use it to start working on the rhythmic aspect of things too. So for this, start with a simple but strong rhythmic idea, something like this. So I'm just thinking 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. Okay, so now we have a nice strong rhythmic idea. We can start developing it with call and response, same as we did before. But this time we'll play the idea, but we'll develop upon the rhythm. I'll play the first idea and then I'll answer it with a slight rhythmic variation on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Tiny variation, but I just answered it. Back to the first. Perhaps a different variation this time. 2, 3, 4. So if actually practicing this, you could see just how many ideas you can get from that one selection of notes. Along these lines, another really great concept to start messing around with is rhythmic tension and resolution. So this idea is using syncopation to create tension in our lines and then resolving it by landing back on the beat. To start practicing this, we could start focusing on the offbeats within your lines. This is a really great way to create tension that you can then resolve into a new section or chord change. Something like this. Also use dotted values like a dotted quarter note or dotted eighth note. This is going to give the tension of a kind of 3/4 type feel. Again, like this. So again, using this tension into a new section can be really effective to then give release when you get there. Okay, so we can learn all the techniques, all the lines we want, all the sweep picking, tappy, hammer-on stuff, arpeggios, scales, all that stuff. But none of it is going to sound particularly good if you're not using dynamics within your lines. So for me, dynamics are a key to good phrasing. Using dynamics in a solo can help give your lines momentum. It's also going to help grab the listener's attention and pull them in, whilst giving expression and feel to your playing. Okay, so just for an example, I'm going to play on a 12-bar minor blues, playing without dynamics first and then with dynamics second. Here we go, without dynamics. This time I'll play with dynamics. Practice this by working on the internal dynamics of a phrase. So this is kind of picking out specific notes and making them pop. You could either start a phrase quietly or make it louder, or you could accent certain notes within it, so perhaps the offbeat. I find a nice way to practice this is just take an easy scale, let's say the minor pentatonic, that's B flat minor pentatonic, and just work on making certain subdivisions of the 8th notes or 16th notes, whatever you're playing, making certain notes pop. So here I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I can make those 8th notes the ones in between pop, so the ands. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So I'm starting to bring them out a little bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Or I can make the downbeat stronger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So obviously when we're soloing, we don't want it to be quite so scripted as this, but it's just a nice way to start becoming aware of those subdivisions and being aware that you can make certain notes pop all in your right hand. Or I could just practice this by starting a phrase quietly and then trying to end it louder. Or the opposite. So within this, you could actually work on the dynamics of full phrases as well, not just the internal dynamics, but perhaps using call and response. You play a phrase kind of quiet, and then you answer it with a louder version, or vice versa. I'll give you an example of this on that minor blues again. Quiet. Loud. Quiet. Maybe loud. Quiet. Or you we could start mixing it up. So this time I'll play quiet then loud. Then answer it loud. Start mixing it up. So for all of this, it is obviously style dependent, but try and find a way to get these ideas into your own playing. No matter what style or genre, dynamics are incredibly important. So if you like this video, feel free to show your support by hitting like, you can subscribe and you can hit the bell icon. If you want to show further support to help me in making more lesson content, you can buy me a coffee or PayPal donate via the link in the description below. For backing tracks and supporting lesson content as well as solo tabs, you can head over to my website in the description below for PDFs and audio downloads. For now, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.